Hi, Carlinville Public Library friends. I'm here to read a story to you written by Laura Ingalls Wilder. And she lived a long time ago during the pioneer days in about 1870 is about when she was about the time she was growing up. And kids back then had a lot more responsibilities. A lot more responsibilities to help the family. They had a lot of chores, but they still like to play. And let's see if you like to play some of the same things that they do. All right, let's see. Do you ever play freeze tag? The one where you tag somebody's it and they tag you and you free. The person who gets tagged freezes. And everybody else is running around and the it person tries to tag them and make them freeze and they run around, but they can also go and tag the ones running around can also go and tag the people who are frozen and unfreeze them. Have you ever played that one? That was a good one. Pioneer children play that one also. How about hopscotch? The one where you draw a bunch of boxes and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you drop a stone in it and you hop and try not to touch that stone. Otherwise you're out. That pioneer children played that game too. How about hide and seek? Now you probably have played that one a lot. They played that game too. They also played jump rope. I bet you've played jump rope. I know the elementary school PE teacher likes to teach the kids how to play jump rope. And then the last one is kick the can. In kick the can, there's just a can or some sort of container they kick around. I'm not really sure about the rules or anything, but to me, that's a lot like soccer. So really, you've been playing a lot of games and they're lots of fun and they're the same things that children from the pioneer days would play too. Today, we're going to read about Laura Ingalls Wilder in their travel by wagon to find their new home. The story is called Prairie Day. And before we read, we need to think about what we're reading. Otherwise, we won't remember. And then we have to go back and reread it. I mean, it's a good story, but it's important to remember what we read. So what we think about, what we need to think about, we may want to use our experience, like when we've been on a trip, and think about what we packed. And then we need to think about what it would be like to totally leave your house. What things are very important to you that you want to bring with you. You also want to think about where do you think they sleep, and where and what do they eat, and what did they see and hear and feel. And most of all, let's think about how they might feel. They might be kind of scared or sad to leave their home. So let's go and read, and then we'll talk about it. Prairie Day by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Once upon a time, a little girl named Laura, her pa and her ma, her big sister Mary, her baby sister Carrie, and their good old bulldog Jack headed west in their covered wagon for the prairie. They drove through the snowy woods until they came to the town of Pepin. Pa went inside the store to trade his furs for things they would need on their journey. Ma and Laura and Mary ate bread and molasses in the wagon. And the horses ate corn from nose bags. So we need to make sure we have nose bags for our horses and oats. Looks like we need a barrel and a big piece of equipment for your oxen. There's a big chest to carry things in. And some things to eat. Looks like they have little napkins. Soon they reached a big lake that stretched flat and smooth and white all the way to the edge of the gray sky. Wow. The horses' hoofs clopped and the wagon wheels crunched as Pa drove the wagon onto the ice. Laura didn't like it, but she knew nothing could hurt her while Pa and Jack were there. At last, the wagon came to a slope of earth. There stood a little log house among the trees. It was a tiny house for travelers to camp in. That night, Laura and Mary and Ma and baby Carrie slept in front of the fire, while Pa slept outside to guard the wagon and the horses. Okay, there's Pa outside and the horses. Every day after that, they traveled as far as the horses could go. And every night they made camp in a new place. They crossed too many creeks to count and drove across long wooden bridges. They saw strange woods and even stranger country with no trees. And that's why it's a prairie. There's no trees, just grass. After many days and nights, they came to the Kansas prairie, a flat land with rippling grass and a great big sky. The wind blew Laura's straight brown hair and Mary's golden curls every which way. Soon Laura and Mary were tired of traveling with nothing new to look at. Poor Jack was tired too. At last, Pa stopped the wagon and said, We'll camp here a day or two. He unharnessed the horses and they rolled back and forth and over until the feeling of the harness was all gone from their backs. Look at them rolling around like little puppy dogs. Okay, there's more things we can see. What they brought with them. No rake. Pa cleared a space in the prairie grass for a fire, and Laura and Mary helped Ma get supper. Pa brought water from a creek, and Ma mixed the water with cornmeal and salt and patted it into little cakes. She fried slices of fat salt pork in the iron spider. Look at that. That's an iron spider. It's a pot with legs on it, so you can put it over a fire. The cakes baked, the meat fried, and Laura grew hungrier and hungrier. And look at all the other things they brought. The bowls, and some cups, and some plates, and a kettle, and a bucket, and a ladle. Oh, and forks. So at last, supper was ready. Pa and Ma sat on the wagon seat, and Laura and Mary sat on the wagon tongue. This is called the wagon tongue. Each of them had a tin plate and a steel knife and a steel fork. Ma had a tin cup, and Pa had a tin cup, and baby Carrie had a little one of her own. But Mary and Laura had to share their tin cup. There's more things they need to bring: dishes and forks and cups. While they were eating supper, the prairie became dark and still, and soon it was past bedtime. Mary and Laura put their long nightgowns on and said their prayers, and crawled into their little bed in the wagon. So look at, they have their dolls and pillows and blankets and their nightgowns. So you got to remember your night clothes. Oh, and this lantern. That would be very, very useful. So the next morning, they all sat on the clean grass and ate pancakes and bacon and molasses. All around them, tiny birds were swinging and singing in tiny voices. Dicky, 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 Laura called to them. Eat your breakfast, Laura, Ma said. You must mind your manners, even if we are 100 miles from anywhere. So after everything in the camp was tidy, Pa went hunting and Laura and Mary went exploring. It was fun to run through the tall grass, in the sunshine and the wind. There were huge rabbits and tiny dicky birds everywhere, and little brown striped gophers. Mary and Laura wanted to catch a gopher to take to Ma. Laura ran and couldn't catch one. They took some flowers to Ma instead of a gopher. So here's a bunny, and there's a gopher, there's a gopher here, and there's one there, and there. There they are. Before long, the sun was low and Pa was coming across the prairie. Laura jumped up and ran to him and hippity-hopped through the tall grass beside him. And look at, you need to make sure you bring your gun so you can hunt and you have something to eat. That night, after supper, Pa's fiddle sang in the starlight. The large, bright stars hung down from the sky, and Laura thought the stars might be singing soon. Soon it was time for little girls to be in bed, so Ma tied on their nightcaps and tucked them into bed. Tomorrow they must be on their way again to find their new little house on the prairie. Look at, he brought his violin. And there they are. They get to sleep in the wagon again. And that's the end of the story. But of course it's not truly the end because they're not quite to their land yet. And it took many months to get there. I made a little covered wagon. I didn't put the cover on it, but I do have a wagon filled with things, and I'm going to share it with you. And maybe you can think about some other things that you may want to bring, or what I should bring on my wagon train ride. I have it out here in the library. Here it is. Right here. I have my campfire, and all my friends are here. Usually you didn't get to bring that many friends. So here they are. And if you see, I've got some sheep here, and those are some animals that I can bring, and then we can butcher them and eat them on the way. But they're really cute. So I don't know about that. I have a cow, so he's way at the back, and he can make some milk for me. And then I have some quilts to keep us warm, and I got some Indian corn, and I brought, Pooh Bear has my plate and my forks. And if you look over here, Curious George is doing some homework on his slate, so I brought that. And there's and then we're going to go around here. There's Clifford, he's coming with too. And then I have my coffee grinder. Put the coffee in this cup part. And then you grind it, and it comes out down here. And I have my candle, and I have my pitcher. And if you see, here's my pretend stove. And then I have boxes of things that I need. Some clothes and dishes, small tools, some ammo and guns. And then I have my broom and my chest of family heirlooms and a bed warmer. And then let's see, what does Cat in the Hat have? He's got my butter churner and my butter form and a hat. And of course he's in the rocking chair. We didn't want to leave that behind. And then I have canisters. This one says cornmeal, and some are flour. And I have my basket of eggs I got from my chickens. They're kind of colorful, aren't they? We're just pretending. I brought some gourds and pumpkins. I have 2 big old bags of potatoes, and I have my red cabbage, and I baked some bread for the way, and that's about it. So if you can think of some other things that I need to bring, we'll think about that and see what else I need to bring. I noticed that I need probably a lantern, and I probably need, what else do I need? I don't have a yoke, and I saw that they had the yoke on the wagon so that you could put it on some oxen to plow up the land. I probably should have brought a plow because you need that to make your field. And let's see what else. Oh, you know, I didn't bring any meat, so I should probably make some meat before my trip. All right, so I have another thing. If you have a piece of paper, you can make your own wagon. So let me grab a pen real quick, or a marker, and you can make a list of what you would want to bring. So I have, because they're usually rectangular. Well, yeah, they're always rectangular. And here's my wagon from up above. And I can draw in some things, like I could be like, I think I need my stove. So this is my stove. And then I think I need my table. So here's what I could made a stove. Here's my table. But actually I could flip it so I can fit more things in there. So I'll flip it for so the legs go up, and then I can, so I got my legs right here, and then I can put more things in it. So you could draw a picture like this to help you decide what you need to bring. Finally, I want to show you what I made. I made a covered wagon out of a pasta box. This was pretty fun to do. All I did was I took a pasta box, it's for lasagna, and I cut this top off. And then I did have some, if you see in there, some popsicle sticks. And I put a little hole in the side. You may need help from mom. You probably will need help from mom and dad or an adult. And to put a hole in there. And then I stuck this through. And then I just literally traced another piece of cardboard with like this or a cup, and just like trace it, and then I cut it out of the cardboard, and then I did another little slit, and then I stuck it on like so. And guess what? I had to use some like hot glue to put this on. But the other stuff I used regular glue for this stuff. And you know, you don't really have to have popsicle sticks. What I like to do is I'll just have like a brown box that's brown on the inside. And if you just cut, let me get my scissors. You can cut it. Well, first I'm going to cut the top off. because the top part is open. And then you can, actually it's easier if you had peeled it open all the way, but anyway. And look at, I can literally turn it inside out so you have brown on the outside instead of the, see, and then now it's like that. So then now you have your wagon. And I'm gonna take it real quick, but you can make yours a lot nicer. I mean, I'm just trying to show you. And then you can let your creativity go wild. So I got this taped here. I'm gonna put this here. And it might be fun to kind of put some action heroes in it. Or like, you know, like little not He-Man, but like, I don't know. Probably not a Barbie, it's kind of too big, but. So now I have that. And then I can take this piece of paper over here and size it. It's a little too big. I have to cut it down a little bit. Let's see, is that gonna work? I think it will. I'm gonna cut this much of it off. So all I did was literally fold it. And then, oh yeah, look at that. So now it's like this. That's your wagon. You just have to add some wheels. And there you go. Your covered wagon. I hope you learned a lot from this. It's really interesting topic. And there's lots of books. Here's another book. It's called You Wouldn't Want to Be an American Pioneer, A Wilderness You'd Rather Not Tame. It's written by Jacqueline Morley and illustrated by David Antrim. And it's kind of silly, and it kind of tells you more about the dangers that the pioneers had to go through in order to go and find this new wonderful land and get it developed and build their new house and everything. So I hope you learned a lot. I hope you have fun. You should try to do this, or it would be really cool if you wrote about one of your trips that you took, because it's important to write things down like that so that you remember. And it would be really cool to share it with Mom and Dad, because Mom and Dad, they may not have remembered what happened on that trip or different details, because they're busy. They're busy trying to make sure you guys are safe and pack and make sure you remember everything. So it would be a good deal if you wrote about it and then shared it with them. So I encourage you to write and read, and I'll see you next time. Bye.